Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT. AI's taking over the world. I'm sure you've heard about this, but did you know that we can actually use it to help us revolutionize our crafting? Hold on. What? Yeah, that's right. ChatGPT, Claude, and AI, they're not just for business professionals. They're not just for jobs. We can use them for fun things too. And today I'm going to share 3 ways that I'm using ChatGPT specifically, 3 ways that I'm using AI to help me revolutionize my crafting game and make it simpler and more efficient. So stick around because I think you're really going to find this one a lot of fun. And if you haven't played around with any AI yet, now is the time to start. And the great part is everything that I'm showing you how to do, I'm doing on the free version of ChatGPT. So that's always cool. You can just go in and just try it out. You'll get better the more that you work with it, but let's see what I'm using it for. But before we get started, I just want to say, hey, I'm Christy here from Crafty Christy's Creations, and I'm here to help you master your silhouette. Today, that means learning how to be a little more efficient by using some super cool tech of AI to make you a better crafter. Okay, so let's talk about the first way that I'm using AI to help me with my crafting, and that is for product inspiration. So back in the day, I used to read a lot of blogs about what I call traditional crafting, traditional card making, meaning we're using stamps, cardstock, paper trimmers, die cuts to create beautiful cards. And that's what I consider traditional because that's where I started. But there used to be blog hops that would happen where everybody's creating their version of whatever the challenge is. So it could be, this is the color palette you're going to use, or here's the specific design you have to use, or here's the theme. It has to be birthday balloons, lots of different ways to do this. But when I'm really in a rut and I just don't feel creative at all, this is one of the things that I use to just help me get those creative juices flowing again. Now, I will say that kind of the first one that I do with this process definitely is not something that I'm going to write home about or dare to show anyone, but it just is there to help build the foundation back about creativity and get me really thinking about, well, what if I try this and what if I try that? And then 4 hours down the road, my 3rd or 4th iteration might actually be something that I'm willing to share. Or it might not be an iteration, but it might just be, oh, okay, now my brain knows how to work in that creative mode again. Like, let me see what else I can come up with. And I actually had that happen to me the other day, which was really fun because lately I have been just so stressed out about other things in my life that it's been really hard for me to get in that creative mode. And I find that when I'm stressed, it's especially hard to feel creative because creativity is kind of like experimenting, and it's hard to experiment under pressure. So what I did was I asked ChatGPT to help me out. So I told ChatGPT, I'm lacking inspiration for my next card project. Help me get inspired. Please provide me with 3 shapes and a color palette. And I tell you, it did just that. So here's the color palette. Rusty rose, sage green, gold foil, and creamy white. Okay, does that not sound like a wedding to you? Because that's pretty much what that sounds like to me. And then, it says, think romantic garden party. Okay, rustic wedding, garden party. Yeah, those kind of go together. And then the shapes to use are going to be a hexagon, an arch, and a layered tag shape. Now, I have not actually used this particular prompt yet, but I've done other prompts, and it really even just, I didn't take it out of Silhouette Studio. I just kind of started playing around with the shapes in Silhouette Studio, and I was able to just kind of create a card that I would not share with anyone, which is why I'm not showing you. But it was something simple that got me flowing. And since then, I've created 3 card designs that will hopefully be up in my shop soon for you. And it was all thanks to a prompt like this that just kind of got me back in that creative zone. So that's the first way that I'd like to use ChatGPT. Give me a challenge prompt. The other thing you can do is just ask it like, I need some project inspiration. Like, I want to create something for spring that I can create with my silhouette. Like, give me some ideas. Yes, you can also do this by just scrolling through Pinterest. But if you want something a little bit more specific and something to not like cloud your judgment, sometimes I find if I look at too many pictures, what I end up creating looks very similar to those pictures. And because I create things that I sell, I never want to be stealing, people's designs. So for me, like talking to ChatGPT and not actually seeing actual pictures has been helpful for me to just make sure that what I'm putting down on paper is actually coming from me and not coming from somebody else's design. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so that's the first way that I use it. And the second way that you can use ChatGPT, now this is super cool. If you love to do print and cut, printing vinyl, or sublimation projects, pay attention because this is the golden nugget. I use ChatGPT to help me create printable things. So let me show you what that looks like. So I asked ChatGPT to create an image that I can use for sublimation on a tumbler. And I wanted to have a frog and some mushrooms. And oh my goodness, did ChatGPT follow through. How cute is this? And I was kind of thinking that what is it? Cottagecore? I think that's what it's called. Kind of that theme. But I was just like, well, mushrooms and animals, like that should be right in there. At this point, if I wanted to fix this design, I could come down here and then put something else in here and tell it like, okay, now add a gnome and put a few more frogs in there. I could do that and then tweak it to where I'm happy with the design. And then the great thing is when you're done, there's this awesome little download button right here. And then you can just save that where you need it and turn it into a project. I personally think that this super cute frog image is something that I would totally turn into a card design and just like do this as a print on the front of a card. I am partial to frogs, have been for a really long time, so this is like right up my alley. But that's another idea that you can do to make your creations a lot easier. Talk to ChatGPT. And the more you do it, the more you're going to know that your prompts are better and better. But if you're just starting out, the thing I want to tell you is talk to ChatGPT just like you would talk to your friend. And if you're not sure how to say something, there are times that I ask ChatGPT, like, okay, well, I want you to do this. Like, what do you need from me to get me that answer? And sometimes it's like, oh, I need you to upload a picture, or, oh, I need you to give me the website of what you're looking at. So the more you just talk to it, the better you're going to get pictures that you really enjoy. Okay, before we move on to our third way to use ChatGPT, I want to talk about today's sponsor, and that is my Silhouette keyboard shortcuts. Okay, so since we're talking about revolutionizing our crafting, keyboard shortcuts are another way to do that. So this is a free printable that you can grab off my website, craftychristiescreations.com/YouTube. And what this is just a one sheet of all of, maybe not all, but a lot of the most common useful shortcuts for you. And you'll see it comes with PC and Mac version. So that way, no matter what kind of computer you're using, these are going to work for you. Some of the ones that you've seen me do a lot are like Control G to group, Control Shift G to ungroup. And those are on here, and there's a bunch more. And you will find that you're crafting a lot quicker and easier when you use your keyboard shortcuts. So I will leave a link in the description below so you know where you can grab these. Okay, back to our AI use with crafting. Okay, this is probably my favorite way to use ChatGPT. Now, before I started using good old chat, I would sit down and I'd design something, and I'm like, well, it's not quite exactly how I had it planned in my head. Or I create 4 or 5 versions of something, and then I'm like, well, I like them all. I need a second opinion. So then I take pictures of everything, and then I'll text those pictures to 3 or 4 people and, twiddle my thumbs while I wait for them to respond to let me know which one is their favorite, so that way I can move on with my designing. Well, ChatGPT can be that friend that I'm texting all my images to. And the really great part is I don't have to wait for them to respond. It is a back and forth conversation happening right now when you need it, whether that's, 10 in the morning or, in the middle of the night, which is super cool, especially for me as a designer. This has been so helpful. So let me show you an example. Okay, so don't laugh, but this is a game day shirt that we create inside of Silhouetting 101, which is my beginner's course to silhouette. And as you can see, this is like, it's okay. Would I wear this? Well, one, I'm not a real big football fan, so like this is not meh. And then, but looking at the design too, I'm like, the design itself is rather dreary as well. We use it in Silhouetting 101. This is a great way for me to teach you about layering heat transfer vinyl. But at the end of the day, it's not something anybody's going to wear. So I talked to Chat, and I said, I need help. And this is what ChatGPT gave me. Doesn't that look so much better? So much better. Okay, let's go to ChatGPT and see how we went from A to B. Okay, so here I uploaded that picture that I showed you of my original design. And I said, how can I make this better? It seems very basic and unappealing. This is where the magic happens, my friend. Holy cow. ChatGPT came up with 5 different ways that I can make this design better. The first thing it says is to add some depth and dimension. You can do this by, making a shadow or doing some layering of your HTV or, outlining the text. So easily you could make an offset and, do that layered effect look on your text. The other thing you could do is make that football look more realistic. adding stitching details, which you see, we have the stitching details that are there. But then this is the cool part, using a faux texture like flocked HTV or like a puff HTV, that would make this so much more interesting, because now you'll get shadows depending on how the light is hitting your shirt, and that's just going to make it so much more interesting already. And then the other thing it's saying is you can change up the font. You want a block. It says that the font that I've used is a clean block font, but you want something that's more bolder, more collegiate, or you could do like a slightly distressed font if you wanted a more vintage feel. The other thing you can do is add some personalized elements. So like putting the team name on there or putting a player's number on there as well. And then the other fun thing to do is to adjust the layout. And ChatGPT says instead of arcing the text, try a stacked layout where you do game and then the football and then day, which is like what it showed us in the sample. Or you could do a banner style with the football in the background and then the text overlaying it, which is also a really popular and interesting way to do a design. And then it's also, here's another one, you can just add some other accents of team colors for some more colorful fun. And then it's like, well, do you want a mock-up of what you're doing? I'm like, oh yeah, show me what you're talking about. And this was the one that it gave me. So basically what it did is it took my layout. Now you can see the word game, it still has a little bit of an arch to it, but day is completely flat, completely straight across. But you'll also notice that it looks like there's some specks in here. So that makes me think that this might be some glitter HTV. And then the other thing is the stripes on the football, you'll see there's a little bit of the brown that sneaks out around the edge. And then that just fits in there. And then, you know, that looks so much better, so much cleaner. And then the cool thing is, you know, we talk back and forth about like, what are some other things I can do? And I was like, hey, by the way, what font did you use? Because that looks great and I want to replicate that. This, my friends, is gold. If you've learned nothing else from this video, this right here is the ticket. I asked, what font did you use? And ChatGPT told me I used a collegiate style bold font, similar to Varsity or Athletic Block. So it's not going to tell me the exact font that it used, but then it goes on to give me 6 or 7 different examples of some different fonts. And the nice thing is, this college is a free font that's on DaFont. And then Impact is a simple but bold font that I'm pretty sure is a standard one that comes on your computer. So there's 2 free ideas right there just from this. And then there's some other ones about doing like a stencil font for more military style, or again, that kind of very block letter gives you that more kind of sporty athletic vibe. And then I asked it to show me some other layouts. This layout is not really very much different. You can see the word game is still kind of slightly rounded, but now the stripes go all the way across the entire football. Again, the word day goes straight across. So very minimal changes to that past one. But then it's giving me some other ideas here. You can stack it all centered, which is what we did. You can do the banner style like it was mentioning before. And then it tells you like, this is great for a sleeve to sleeve stretched look on adults. So what that is basically your, it's going to stretch like all completely across your entire shirt. So that's what it's talking about. The other one would be like an arch layout. So it would be game, and then the football would be in there, and then the word day would be kind of around this way. And then that it says is more of like a retro athletic vibe. So, you know, we used to everything kind of be in a circle there for a while. It mentions doing a block offset, doing some asymmetry. I don't really love this, but basically it's like you could put the football icon up here on your shirt and then put game day down over here. So it's like a little bit different. Another one would be to do it vertically. So putting like game day across your shirt and then putting a football in the center. So you're like making a field goal with game day. So that is just amazing. And again, you'll see from the two versions that it was talking to me about, like, look how much better that is. And that was just a quick little conversation with ChatGPT has completely changed the way that I have designed this shirt to make it look like something you're actually gonna wear. How cool is that? Now I still need to go back and do the actual design changes, but those are coming soon. Okay, just to recap, we went over 3 ways that I like to use ChatGPT in particular to help me along with my crafting, and it makes it so much faster and easier and simple. So remember we talked about the first way is to get inspiration. And, you know, for me, that was more just like, hey, I need you to give me a challenge, something I have to think through. But you could easily just say like, hey, I want to create something. I'm hosting a barbecue and I want to create something for the, you know, to put on the apron for the chef. And then it'll give you some great ideas. The second way we used ChatGPT was to generate an image that we can use for printing or sublimation. Super simple, really easy prompt, didn't take a lot of work. Now, remember, you're only going to be able to do a couple of those on the free version, but you know, if you do 1 or 2 a day, you're sitting pretty. And then the third way we use ChatGPT, which happens to be my most favorite, is to help with the design process. Now, I will kind of back up here and say, I did try to have ChatGPT just like draw me out a card. I want it to look like this. And no, that did not really work like I thought it would. That was rough. But to be able to talk to ChatGPT and tell it like, this is what I got, help me improve it. Oh, it is just the best thing. It's going to make you a better creator because every time you do that, you're going to start noticing how, oh, this style of font matches with this theme of thing that I'm making. You know, like using those college fonts for sports clothing. Now that we've learned, we put those together and they turn out better. Okay, that's what I have for you today. Now, go jump on ChatGPT and give it a try. If you like learning about how we use ChatGPT in the realm of crafting, make sure you give me a thumbs up on this video so that way I know you want to hear more about how I'm using AI in the crafting realm. And before you leave, there's some more videos up here in the corner that I think you're going to like to watch next. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.